All the time we spent, wonder where it went. Why must time move on? Why must we grow apart?
Everyone, and welcome to the Final Picture Show podcast. We are here to wrap up the month of September as we also wrap up our War of the Worlds discussion with looking at the original from 1953. And of course, I'm here with Travis.
Hey there.
Yeah, Travis, as always. And as always,
Travis, as always. Am I right?
And as always, a Sign of the Apocalypse. Well, lots. Pick one.
Yeah, right.
Although there are some beaming lights, some good things that have happened this week.
Things. So. Can I give you mine real quick?
Sure, go for it.
I agreed with Ted Cruz and Rand Paul this week.
Is it about the Jimmy Kimmel?
Yes.
Yeah. I think
that's
a lot
an easy
of
one to agree with, though.
Yeah,
I think everybody should agree.
If you just like being an American, the kind of principles that the country is founded upon is at least I
don't think that should be controversial at all.
The pretending of free speech, but at the very least, exercising it a little bit as Jimmy has come back. I'm not even a big Jimmy Kimmel fan. Never really watched his show much. No, it's just I was always a Conan O'Brien dude, and once Conan stopped,
Conan all the way.
Once Conan stopped, I just kind of stopped watching late night for the most part.
Yeah,
it just no longer appealed to me.
It really was like Conan was just sort of the last of because I was a big Letterman fan.
Yeah,
back in the day. I also got a little bit. Me and my mom would watch Leno a bunch, a
Same.
lot of the character stuff.
Me and my mom and my dad would watch Leno every now and then.
Yeah. And so basically, Letterman and Conan were the last of it. So, once Conan was gone, I was like,
Yeah, this newer generation, I haven't really followed as much. But I also don't have cable TV, so it's a little bit harder for me to see on a nightly basis. Whereas, when I was in college, living in the dorms, we had TV, so I could just kind of, we only had 6 channels. But hey, that was one of them.
But if ever there's going to be... Yeah, if ever there was going to be a reason to stop these shows, this ain't it.
No. And complete bullshit. And obviously, glad to see him back. If nothing else, as a representative of free speech.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the devil in disguise, the man who gloated about the removal of Mr. Kimmel, Master Blaster himself.
I was going to say terrible disguise.
Yeah. Really letting his color shine through there. He also, since the last time we spoke, summoned the National Guard here to Memphis, which is where I am. So if you listen to national news, I believe they'll tell you they're not here yet. But they're here. They're in town. Ran into a couple of them in the morning at Circle K getting a Diet Coke before going to work. So nice guys, I have nothing against the National Guard. These are mostly college students paying off debts or people, trying to get a little bit of extra money on the weekends, So unfortunately, they are at the disposal of a crazy person who is now sending them here to basically take credit for the fact that the crime rate has gone down. Every year I've lived here, it's gone down. And Memphis has issues just like any other city does,
it's
pretty
much larger.
It's a large city. Any city that has over a couple 100,000 people, I would always say you should probably pay attention to what the hell's going on around you.
Absolutely.
There's just too many people to not pay attention. That goes for any city. It wouldn't matter if I was in Austin, 100%. Texas.
Absolutely.
The most shady shit that's ever happened to me has happened to me in Austin, Texas, which most people would probably presume, at least for the longest time, to be a quote unquote nice, safe place to live. Yeah. I've seen people get roofied on 6th Street and all kinds of crazy shit happen in Austin.
Oh, absolutely.
Austin's pickpocketed in Austin. My wallet stolen once.
Damn.
Never happened here in Memphis.
No.
So so far there's been nothing to report home about. I feel like I'm like a frontline reporter reporting from the war zone,
really.
D, nothing to see, D. But so far nothing to see. It's been kind of quiet on the Western front here. But if anything does pop off, I will be the first to report home to you lovely folks about what is happening in the war zone that is Memphis. I'll have to formulate it. If anything does happen next week, I might come back and pretend I'm Hunter S. Thompson and give like a give a war correspondent report. Very mushroomed out.
Nothing says Warzone like I went to Circle K.
That's it for, I guess, Sign of the Apocalypse. More of the same, so to say.
More of the same. It's awful and it never stops.
Shouldn't be thy name. Speaking of contradictions, there's probably a few. Let's get back to the movie. We might end up editing all of that out. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Our previous episode, when we talked about Steven Spielberg, I ended up cutting out like our almost 20-minute talk about Twilight and our almost like extended talk about Tom Cruise and extended conversation on AI, because the episode was like going to be like 2 hours and 30 minutes long for a movie that's not even 2 hours long. And I was like, this is a bit exorbitant. Let's reel it back in. So yeah. Man. If you listened to last week's episode and you're like, I feel like there's a lot missing here. Oh, that episode went on. Like, we talked a lot. But it was Spielberg and Tom Cruise. How are you not?
If you ever want us to just rant incoherently about anything and everything, let us know. We'll start a Patreon. Why not?
Yeah.
Show us you're interested.
On to tonight's movie, War of the Worlds from 1953, directed by Byron Haskin, who was predominantly a cinematographer in the 20s and in the silent age. They would actually end up doing a documentary on him in the 1970s, kind of about the silent age of filmmaking and how it worked and different techniques and whatnot. He also directed some movies in the silent age as well. His two biggest, I guess not two biggest, but his biggest credits outside of this movie, War of the Worlds, are Naked Lunch, The Power, and Robinson Crusoe on Mars, which would actually use footage from this movie on in Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Oh, cool.
Which is a movie I have seen. I got it like in one of those like big DVD like bundles of like 50 sci-fi movies, Robinson Crusoe on Mars. I've seen it. I could not for the life of you, or for the life of me, and you for that matter, tell you anything about that movie.
Yeah.
And I've read the Robinson Crusoe story, so I'm imagining it's that on Mars, literally, but right? I don't know. It's one of those movies that like it like beamed into my eyes and then was out the other side, and I was like, I have no idea what just happened. Same thing happened when I watched Hunter x Hunter, that anime. Like, I tried to watch that with Jack, and it literally was like in one ear, out the other, and I was like, I have no recollection of what the fuck I just watched.
Just to save anybody from freaking out or whatever, we know it's Hunter x Hunter. So
is that what it is? I did not.
Sorry.
know.
Okay, you did not know that. Okay,
no. Nor did I get a shit.
I was about to say also, I've never watched a single minute of it, but I've heard people talk about it.
I watched all of it. In the entire process of watching all of it, apparently I didn't even know the fucking title. So there you go.
Well, it's not one of those things where like it's Hunter x Hunter, you know.
No, I just remember anyway, we'll go down the rabbit hole of talking about that for a long time. I was in a different world that evening. Fair. So to speak.
I can speak on that.
George Haskin is a frequent collaborator of one of his friends, which is George Powell. George Powell is the producer of this film. He would also be the producer of Time Machine, When the Worlds Collide, a lot of other sci-fi movies from the 50s and 60s. He was kind of a big deal within that realm. Yeah. And in fact, Rocky Horror Picture Show, one of the songs references George Powell.
Oh.
So yeah, kind of a big deal within that kind of 50s oeuvre of sci-fi movies, which we will talk about here in a minute. The writer of this little lovely film is Barry Lyndon, and he is a writer extraordinaire. He would start off as a journalist, then move into a novelist, then become a playwright, and then eventually settle into screenwriting, where he would write this movie, adapting the H.G. Wells novel. Amongst a few other things, he would also write Man in the Half Moon Street, which was a play, which was then turned into a movie and is perhaps his biggest credit. So there's our writer and director, and none of those people would win awards for this movie. However, this movie has been preserved as being a significant achievement in the history of filmmaking in America, and that happened in 2011. However, did win the Oscar for visual effects in 1954.
Oh, I can
however, the Oscars in 1954 for visual effects, there was no competition. It was basically they gave it to this movie. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, there wasn't like a thing where it was like up against other movies. It was just it's this movie.
Oh, okay. I was going to be kind of curious about that, but that's that's a little more interesting.
Yeah. Let's get into the cast. There's really only two people to talk about. There's a lot of people in this movie, but really only two of them were really interesting to do some research on. And Gene Barry, who I swear after watching this movie, how the hell did he not get cast as Superman?
Oh.
He looks just like fucking Clark Kent when he wears glasses.
You know what? You're right.
He could easily be a Clark Kent. Speaking of Superman, have you watched the new Superman movie yet?
Yes, I have.
Did you like it?
I did like it.
I liked it too. Yeah. We'll have to wait and talk to our friend Dominic next time we see him, which we're going to show up on an episode of his podcast, Monster Movie Fun Time Go. In the month of October, I believe we're talking about Men in Black and Mars Attacks, kind of continuations of this theme that we're visiting tonight. So
yeah,
that'll be a fun time. So yeah, we'll have to talk to him about Superman and what he thought about it.
I think it'll come up.
I was going to say, I have not asked him about it yet, so I'm curious as to what he thought about it as my Superman fan friend of anyone else I've ever known.
Yeah, I was about to say, I couldn't tell you thing one about the Superman comics, so...
Yeah. I read a lot of them as a kid, but not nearly as much as dear old Dominic.
I read some as a kid, but I don't think any of
fanatic.
them... no.
Gene Barry is the leading star here, not the person that they had in mind originally. Two other people were thought of before him. One of them kind of makes sense. Orson Welles himself, the person who read the novel from H.G. Wells in 1930, which we will actually make its own standalone episode. One of these days, we will actually go and... I found a copy of it.
Oh, and, awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive. But there's so much background and history about like the response to that and if any of that actually happened and how they made it. And how they made the sound effects for the radio broadcast and all the people involved in that. It's basically like its own separate episode. So I just, in the process of doing research for this, I just was like, no, fuck it. That's going to be its own episode because that's just too much. It's just too much. Too much. But yes, Orson Welles was who they wanted. This would have been, if he would have accepted, his first on-screen role, as he was predominantly, at this point, known as a theater actor. He turned them down staunchly, said no. The next person they had in mind was Lee Marvin, who also said no. And so they went with Gene Barry.
All right.
Who, besides this movie and Atomic City, which is another kind of good 50s sci-fi classic around the same time, he would mostly be known as a TV actor, showing up in Burke's Law for several episodes, as well as Perry Mason, Twilight Zone, bunch of TV shows at the time. And his last movie was actually the movie we talked about last week, War of the Worlds in 2005. That was the last movie he was ever in.
See, I didn't get it at the time, but I get it now.
Yeah. It's a cool little carry through there they have there.
It is.
Speaking of carry throughs, the next actress here would be the only actress to show up as the same character in multiple movies here. This is Anne Robinson, who plays the female lead. And she started her career actually as a stunt double for horse riders. So pretty much everything she was in before this were Westerns, where she was mostly getting stunt coordination work, where she was a very, very, very good horse rider. And so she would substitute for Westerns where they had the girls riding the horses or anything like that. So she did a lot of those up until this movie, which is one of her first starring credits, where she would... reprise this role in the 88 TV movie or TV show that we talked about last week, which would eventually star Adrian Paul. And she would also reprise this role in a unrelated, independently financed movie in the 2000s called The Naked Monster.
Oh,
don't know anything about that one, but yeah, she shows up there as this character as well. And she would be in tons of TV shows as well. Perry Mason, so on and so forth. Bunch of TV shows at the time. Bunch of Western TV shows at the time. And she was also in the 2005 Spielberg version. And I believe as of not too long ago, she might still be alive. I know as of 2024, she was still alive. So unless she died recently.
I just looked her up on IMDb and no no death credit. So
yeah, so I believe she is still the only living actor from this movie still alive. So
wow.
Yeah. So those are the two stars that we're going to talk about. There are some other famous actors in there as well. Les Tremayne is in there. He's kind of the general, probably the third biggest credited star of this movie. But the movie kind of shifts characters a lot, except for those two people. Pretty much everybody else is only in it for a brief period of time.
Right.
Okay, let's get into the background of the movie.
Yeah.
So Paramount actually purchased the rights for this in the 1920s, and funny story about that, they didn't realize until the making of this film, they actually had to stop production for a couple days to reacquire the rights because they had only acquired the radio rights to the book, not the actual television or the film rights. So they had to go check back in with the estate of H.G. Wells and make sure all their dots were crossed and everything there.
Yep.
But so yeah, they started in the 20s was when they wanted to make this movie. Did not happen. The original director they had in mind was Cecil B. DeMille. I'll get it right eventually.
Yeah.
Who had a version in mind that would go on for a little while, and that went nowhere. In the 1930s, Alfred Hitchcock would try give his hand at it and would actually begin to start and then also stop as well. Nothing happened there. A few other directors would try in between the 30s and the 1950s when you finally get it made here. So, but yeah, Alfred Hitchcock and Cecil B. DeMille were two of the major directors that initially they had in mind for this taking on this picture.
Wow. Some big names right there.
Some big names indeed. And I am curious to what this movie would have looked like before World War I and World War II. How different it would have been in the 20s and 30s with just a different kind of context for it. Would they would have made it way more into the book, lean into that, just interesting hypotheticals to think about.
That is,
especially because Hitchcock never really did sci-fi much, so it's also kind of what would a Hitchcock sci-fi look like? That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that it would be interesting.
I don't know how he would have pulled that off. He might have just made it very much like the rest of his movies and
really
called it a day. Made it like The Birds, but with flying saucers. I don't know. Anyway, so half of the movies, or no, I shouldn't say half. More than half, 60% of the budget of this $2 million movie went to the special effects department.
Mm-hmm.
So of the $2 million they had, 1.4 million of it went to special effects. 600,000 of it went to the actors and directors. So they were definitely leaning on the thin side, which is why we really only get 2 stars, and everybody else is pretty much kind of an extra, pretty much. Yeah. Half of the movie did have to have special effects, which is why they needed such a big budget for the special effects. Every of all the scenes, half of every scene needed some kind of special effects treatment.
Yep.
Which would, of course, cause some problems with Gene Barry and Anne Robinson because frequently they were reacting to nothing.
Oh.
So the entire scene where they're in the bunker and Gene is commenting on the aliens as they destroy everyone at the beginning of the movie, all of that reacting to nothing. When Anne Robinson screams because her uncle Matthew is going to walk out and say hi to the aliens and get blown up, she's reacting to nothing. She just was told, scream as loud as you can and we'll fix it later.
Wow.
Which is what they did. So, Gene Barry has said this is not some of his best work because he is frequently reacting to absolutely nothing. So, something that actors are still dealing with in 2025.
That was about to say.
Whenever they make heavy special effects movies, you are frequently reacting to or interacting with nothing.
Yeah. No, and it's maybe worse. Well, I don't know if I'd say it's probably the same. It's got to be the same.
I would say it's probably very similar. At least now, maybe they give you a picture or a tennis ball or something.
A tennis ball.
Yeah, something like that. Back then, I think for the most part, they just were okay, here's a description of what's happening. React.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Go for there. Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why they increased the romantic subplot. So in the book, we don't have that so much. Here, we have a much more highlighted romantic subplot where the characters are very much falling in love as the movie goes on. And that was emphasized by the studio. They wanted that, demanded it, so to say. to hopefully make the movie have a little bit more like relation to people. If you compare this to the last time we were in the 50s with Day the Earth Stood Still, which had no romantic subplot, those two movies just a few years apart. Crazy how dissimilar they are.
Yeah, really.
It's like a mile apart. And I think the biggest thing, as you can tell, is like from when Day the Earth Stood Still came out in 51 to now, the Korean War has become more of a thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like the biggest change there, at least, historically speaking. A bit more things here about the background of it. So whenever they were creating the UFOs, they intentionally avoided stereotyping, no flying saucers of any kind here.
Yeah.
They also consulted with the military about the tripods that we see in the book and in the Spielberg version. And the military said, like, we would have no problem taking those down. So that wouldn't be an issue at all. So instead, they went with the flying kind of thing that we have here.
Okay, hovering. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, kind of hovering things. And so more about the special effects here. 144 matte paintings were used for when the disintegration ray makes that guy go from like a human to green to a skeleton.
Yeah.
That scene, that's 144 different paintings being used.
Wow.
Yeah. They used a ton of minis and a ton of matte paintings. So that's how they were able to accomplish a lot of the special effects. Okay. Is layering film on top of film and then dissolving it, and then also doing lots of miniatures. To the point that Anne Robinson commented and said it was like being in Gulliver's Travels, like walking around the tiny little towns that they had designed, which is kind of funny because like 20 years later, Star Wars would do the exact same thing.
Yep. I think about that. That's really awesome. I think that'd be so fun to just, walk around a bunch of miniature sets. That'd be great.
So a little bit more here. The soldiers that are in the movie, most of those soldiers are actually from the National Guard. There you go.
Hey.
The National Guard of Arizona lending their soldiers for the film production there, which was nice of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
And let's get into the sound effects, because this is maybe some of the funnest things to talk about this movie, is several of the sound effects would go on to have some lineage unto themselves. So the ray gun sound effect that we hear in most like kids TV shows and as well as some children's toys, that like that comes from this movie.
Awesome.
The green ray sound effect that they use every time you see the green ray used by the alien, that was created using a tension cable and hitting it with a hammer.
Oh, okay.
And that, as well as a few other sound effects, as well as how to create those sound effects, would also go on to be used in Star Trek, the original, and as how they made the photon torpedo sounds.
Okay.
So lots of cool stuff there. And as well as a lot of the techniques they used to develop this movie and get the sound effects and achieve all of this stuff, because it was so early in the creation of this kind of process. A lot of these techniques would go on to be used, like we said, in Star Wars and Star Trek and lots of other sci-fi things to come in the 60s, 70s, and all the way up until they stopped really using minis, which I guess would be mid 80s, late. I guess the 90s you still even see some minis, because they were going to use minis in Jurassic Park.
That's right.
And Steven Spielberg actually like had them all made, but then they decided to use special effects instead because it was more convincing at that point. So like really up until like the mid 90s, you're kind of reliant on like miniatures.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes away when you get, computers and shit.
Which kind of
damn computers. I love minis. I love miniatures. That's why I think like watching sci-fi movies from the 50s and 60s and 70s has like, it almost has like an interesting nostalgia, because it's not just like watching it for the story. It's also like, oh, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah,
how did they make that sound? How did they like film that? Like, it's just like all these very specific little things that are very interesting. We could literally spend like hours talking about how they did all this stuff. If you're interested, go onto IMDb and you can find a lot of information about how they achieved and accomplished a lot of these designs, a lot of the makeup and the alien designs and the spaceship designs. It gets really detailed. There's a lot.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was very, very cool.
Yeah.
So a little bit more here. This movie was, when it was released, it made $2 million. It cost $2 million, so broke even. Very good for the time in terms of its box office reception. It was received immediately very, very well. People loved it. In the
I can
United
see that.
Kingdom, the United Kingdom had a little bit of a problem with it. They did not like all of the violence. So in the
Yeah.
United Kingdom, it was actually an X-rated movie until 1986.
Okay,
When
I wasn't expecting that. Late.
yeah, in 1986, the United Kingdom reversed and moved it from X-rated to PG-rated, making it one of the only movies to go from that far of a rating change.
Yes, that is a big rating change.
Yeah, to go from an X-rated movie to a PG movie because of violence in the 1950s. Ooh. Yeah, very, very silly. Very, very silly.
Yeah.
H.G. Wells's estate, obviously he was gone by this point, but his estate loved it. They loved it so much that they gave the producer, George Powell, his choice of other H.G. Wells properties to adapt. He went with Time Machine.
Very cool.
There you go. Yeah. So they loved it so much they basically were like, please make more movies using our fathers or our our relatives' information, their texts.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, we talked about all the props and everything. It would be cool if you could go and look at them. Most of them were made out of copper and bronze. And so most of them were taken to a smelting plant and melted down after the movie was made. In fact, I don't think any of the props are around anymore.
Dang.
Like any of the Martian, the metal spaceships, anything like that they built, all of it was melted down. All of it.
Well, what a shame.
Very different time. Very, very different.
Yeah, I was
now
about to
that
say.
shit would be preserved and people would keep it. You know, you could eventually go to like a fucking Hard Rock Cafe or something and see it on the wall there or something. But yeah, now, you know, that would be one thing. But back then, yeah, they were like, yeah, melt it down. We need more shit.
Yeah, right.
So the movie was going to be in 3D. The last third of the movie, once the atomic bomb happens, they put on the goggles. That was going to come with a cue to tell the audience, put on your goggles. So the last chunk of the movie there was going to be in 3D. That obviously did not happen, but that was the original intent of the producer. He really, really wanted it to.
Oh, did he really?
Yes, he wanted it to be in 3D because 3D was kind of getting kind of kitschy at this time.
It was,
and it came back during our lifetimes and then went away again.
It did. It feels almost the same as like back then. I was like, oh, maybe it'll stick around this time.
Yeah, I went and saw a few 3D movies. Some of them were fun.
Some were fun.
Yeah. Some movies make good use of 3D. Some don't. You know.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on the maker.
It does.
Actually, one of the 3D movies I really liked was Harold and Kumar. When they did that one, the Harold and Kumar's Christmas in 3D was very, very intentionally funny. And now watching it on like Blu-ray without the 3D, you could just see all the scenes that were intended for 3D because there's like so many scenes where shit just goes flying at the camera for no damn reason. Yeah, it's like, hey, that was for 3D. It would have been.
That's awesome.
Remember that? Remember that? Even weirder. Remember with the 3D TVs? That's how far it went.
Yep.
People, you could buy a 3. I don't know anybody that ever bought a 3D TV.
Yes, you do.
Who?
Mac.
Oh my God, you're right. I take that back. I know one motherfucker that bought a 3D TV. Don't know anybody that ever watched it with him, but there you go. I never. Wearing glasses is a pain in the ass to watch with 3D, so you kind of immediately I don't really care about 3D because I got to take my fucking glasses off or put them over my glasses, which is even more annoying.
No, it's so annoying. Like we do not benefit as well. So
yeah, not fun. Sorry, take a drink of my beverage.
Mm-hmm.
We will edit. All right, so let's get into the differences between the novel and the movie, and then we'll get into Travis trivia. So just a couple core differences is, one, the stance on religion. The movie ends on a very spiritualistic tone.
Boy, does this.
Yeah, and that's not in the book at all. And in fact, H.G. Wells was a noted agnostic, at the least atheist at the most. Like, he was not that big on religion. There is religious characters in the book, but they're kind of presented in very different ways than in this movie, whereas they're not meant to be revered, so to speak.
I see.
Obviously, the spacecrafts are completely different in the book and in the movie. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Completely different plot. The book is set in Victorian England, and the movie is set in California in the 1950s. So completely different thing there.
Oh, also, I didn't realize it was set in Victorian England.
Yeah. Victoria.
See, I've never read it. So
Yeah. It's set in classic England, so to speak. Well, I mean, the time period he wrote it in.
Well, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But oh wow, that must now
yeah,
I do
the
want
book.
to read it.
Well, yeah, I didn't know you'd never read it before. Yeah, the book is basically kind of using the idea of colonialism and applying it to like an alien invasion kind of a thing, since that was a big thing in England at the time.
Colonialism to the English.
Yeah, because that was a big thing at the time. Heart of Darkness,
Yes.
Joseph Conrad, that kind of like colonial guilt, but also like, well, we also like the gold and luxury, but we feel bad about taking other people's land. That sucks.
It's
there was a lot of that.
English.
It's hard being English and having to conquer everything.
But we gotta.
It's our God-given right. So there's a lot of that kind of in the book, which is very different than what we get in the movie, obviously. Yeah. And so also we have completely different Martians as well. So in the book, they are honestly in the book they're more similar to the Martians you see in Independence Day than anything else. In probably one of the reasons why Steven Spielberg pumped the brakes on making this his version after Independence Day kind of came out, because he was like, oh, okay, well, I took a lot of my stuff there. So yeah, very, very similar to that, but not at all similar to what we see here in the movie.
Right.
Which I can see why they changed some things. It makes some sense, but I am looking forward to listening to the radio broadcast where we can see the book presented in its truest form by one Mr. Orson Welles. Speaking of radio and music, let's talk about what was going on the radio, because that was all the kids were listening to in 1953. August 26th of 1953, to be specific. So most of these I'm just going to tell you, because I don't think there's any chance you have it guessing any of them. I couldn't have told you. I actually know 2 of these 5. And these are in no particular order, because I could find the 5 biggest songs, but I could not find anything that would tell me in which order these 5 go. It's just, here are the top 5. So here were the big 5 songs that the hip hop cats were listening to in 1953. Number 5 was Patty Page, How Much Is That Doggy in the Window?
All right.
Indeed.
That is a top 5 song.
As a top 5 song. This is just wait, it gets weirder. Number 4 is Rub-a-Dub-Dub by Hank Thompson.
Oh boy.
This was the 50s,
Yep.
This was the 50s. This is what songs. I was going to say. This is literally what the current administration said they wanted to go back to. There you go.
Damn it, you're right.
Here we go. This is what they said. This was the grant time to be an American. Rub-a-dub-dub. Thanks for the grub, fucker. Hank Thompson. Number 3 is Crying in the Chapel by the Orioles, which I've never heard that song before, but I'm sure it sounds pretty good. They look like the Orioles. From what I see on the picture, they look like a all-black I almost said hip-hop, kind of doo-wop pop group from the 50s.
Oh, okay.
So probably a pretty good song, honestly.
And that's the good title already.
Crying in the Chapel, yes, sir.
I like
Let's
the sound
give that one a look. The second one that was listed here is I Believe by Frankie Lane.
Oh, okay.
Not familiar.
I know Frankie Lane is, but I don't know the song. Or maybe I do know the song.
I wasn't familiar with either, so there you go. And the number 1 song that was listed here is the only one I am familiar with, which is Vaya con Dios by Les Paul and Mary Ford.
Okay.
Vaya con Dios, indeed. Well, that's the top 5. Before we move on, let's talk about 50s sci-fi movies, because we have now looked at 2 of them.
Yeah.
And this was just coming up in the research, and I just was like, wow, the 50s was a good time to be for sci-fi movies. So here is what you could, if you were a sci-fi fan in the 1950s, here's what you had in store for you. In 1950, the movie Flying Saucer comes out. 1951, you get The Thing from Outer Space. 1951, you also get Day the Earth Stood Still. And you're also get a movie that we'll talk about one day, 5, which is an underrated classic from the 50s. It's called 5 because it's about 5 people being left alive on the Earth after the apocalypse. So,
oh my God!
There you go. That 1951, a very, very, very dark apocalyptic movie from 1951. Interesting to watch. 1952, you get When Worlds Collide, which we talked about a little bit because it has the same producer here.
Yep.
1953, we get War of the Worlds, which we're looking at tonight.
Yep.
1954, we get Creature from the Black Lagoon, as well as Them.
Oh.
And there's a bunch of movies scattered in between here that I'm skipping. Like there's like 4 different Abbott and Costello meets that have come out by this point.
Yeah.
There's several different there's also Godzilla that comes out. There's all of the sequels therein, all of the sequels from Creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a lot of sci-fi movies coming out at this point. 1955, though, we get The Day the World Ended.
Oh.
56 is a big one, Forbidden Planet, as well as Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Movies I've seen now.
1957, we get The Night the World Exploded.
Wow.
One of these days, we will talk about pretty much every one of these movies, because they are all pretty much apocalyptic or pre-apocalyptic movies in some variety. 1958, you get The Blob, the original, as well as Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, as well as The Fly.
Ooh.
And then in 1959, you get On the Beach, which we'll talk about one day, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and why not end here? And once again, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just some cherry picking. Perfect one to end on is Plan 9 from Outer Space, coming out in 1959.
Oh, man.
So
God, the 50s was a good decade.
The 50s was a good decade for sci-fi. Like I said, if you were for sci-fi, if you were enjoying civil rights, not so much.
Not so much.
If you liked yourself a good sci-fi movie at the Picture House, then this was a good time to be alive, because you got a good pick of some really, really good classic stuff, as well as some cheesy schlock that you will remember for generations to come.
I am a lover of some cheesy schlock.
As I am as well. So we're going to take a break and go get us some cheesy schlock, and then come back and talk about the plot of the movie. See you guys in a second.
See you.
Welcome to the middle section of the show. We had a little poll going for which decade should we talk about in October. Looking at some more post-apocalyptic movies in the month of October, and it ended in a 4-way tie, with the 80s, 90s, 50s, and 60s all getting 25% of the vote. So we are now forced with a decision, and of course we're going to pass that decision on to somebody else. And this decision is going to be passed on to a 4-sided die, as Travis is going to roll it. And we'll just say number 1 is 80s, 2 is 90s, 3 is 50s, and 6 is and 4... And 4 is the 60s. So we'll go with that.
That was very Monty Python-esque of you there.
Right. All right, roll that dice,
2,
and
5.
we'll see what we end up with for next month.
All right, let's see what the dice say. I have a 2.
2. Well, we're going to the 1990s. What a decade.
The 90s. Ooh.
The 90s. So next month, the month of October, we will be looking at post-apocalyptic movies from the 90s. See you guys then.
Wearing our flannel and ripped pants and...
All right. Welcome back. Let's get into the plot of War of the Worlds from 1953. We start in space with some context for why the Martians are in the predicament they are in.
Yeah. And
basically...
like the one... I was going to say, like we had with... Morgan Freeman, we get some voiceover, we get some narration.
Yeah, we get some narrations and voiceover, very helpful. The only thing interesting to say to here is they do not mention the planet of Venus in the introduction as being a planet that the Martians could not go to, because in the 1950s they actually thought Venus might still be and be able to be livable by humans.
Oh no.
They didn't know enough about Venus yet. It was not until a couple of years later that they realized, nope, we life cannot be sustained on Venus. So, yeah.
Well, and they figured
that was
maybe this is way before that. I think this is before that book comes out. But I was going to say, maybe they figured Venus was a good place to go because men are from Mars and women are from Venus. I have no idea when that book came out. I don't know what it's about. And I don't. It's just...
I know. I don't know when it came out either. I believe it's like a relationship book. I don't know.
Is that what it is?
I think so. I think it's like how to succeed in life and marriage or something along those lines. Not sure. So Earth is the last choice. Is if they had only, if they only knew what the hell we were going to do to Earth, they would have avoided it. Because, not exactly where you want to be right now.
Yeah, no, we
So
are
a comet
we
or an
are
asteroid or a meteor or something.
yeah.
They never really fully identify what it is. An unidentified flying object from space crashes in, and we set off our story as
Yes.
now we get to go to really our introducing of our characters, because we get some locals that show up that start brainstorming how they can turn this into a money-making endeavor.
Yeah. I
We'll turn
like
it
this
into a
a
tourist
lot.
trap.
Yeah, this scene was really cool to me, or this sequence or whatever was
Yeah.
really cool to me. Just like watching these town folk just gathering around. Like, it just felt like a small town in the 50s. Just,
Yeah.
But they all knew each other. They,
Yeah.
it I don't know, it was kind of nice.
It was
I
kind of
mean,
nice.
Also with the backdrop of, an alien craft has crash landed.
An alien craft has crash landed, yes. So we meet our main stars, and the flirtation is immediately off the charts between them.
Oh, yeah.
As she's describing this like handsome doctor, not knowing that she's
Genius
talking to him.
doctor. Yeah, and also his name
Yes.
is not unknown to me, but it was unknown to me here. I was like, holy shit.
Yes, I was going to say his name would go on to show up in Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yep, that's the only place I knew of it for up until this week when I watched this.
Yeah, right. It was interesting to see that. I did not make that connection either until watching this movie. Then I was like, oh, that's where they got it from. Okay. Yeah, same thing. As soon as I heard it, I was like, is that like a name? Like, does he show up in something else? Like, what is that name from? And then Googling it, and it's like, oh, okay, it's MST3K. It's like, oh, okay, now I see what you did there. Well done, sirs. Well done, sirs. Well done. So his radioactive meter is going off the charts, but it's okay because we got a square dance to go to. God damn it!
Yeah, they got their Saturday social.
Basically, yeah, they're like, what was there to do on a Saturday? He's got to stick around to let it cool down, and he's like, what's there to do on a Saturday in this small town in California? And they were like, square dance.
We got a real kickin' dance.
As a person who has spent a large amount of time in small California towns, square dancing is a thing that happens. Yeah.
Oh no.
The most country ass motherfuckers I've ever met have been from California.
Oh, that'll
like I think like anyone not from Texas would be like, oh, everyone from Texas wears cowboy hats and cowboy boots, and everyone I've ever met that actually does that is been from California.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, Central California specifically. They love to pretend they're from Texas.
Well, I mean, California is not. I mean, it's a
big ass place.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge, and it's
very,
a
very different depending on where you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very, very different. Especially Central California. Lots of farms, lots of ranches, lots of people doing hard labor all day long. So, very different mentality than maybe some people would have expected whenever they moved to California or learn about California. So,
yeah, I can see that.
That's kind of where we are. We're kind of like in like central-ish California. So going closer to the northern side, because they end up in San Francisco later on.
That's right.
But so the square dance is going cool, but as this is happening, the meteor begins to unscrew itself, and this is how the aliens come out. This is also what happens in the book. This is straight from the book as well. And of course, this causes the square dance to go dark, which is a fucking bummer, because, I was just about to swing my partner round and round, and now I have to stop. What a damn shame that is. So the Earth literally stands still, but this is not the day the Earth stood still. That's a different movie. Also from the 50s, from about 2 years before this. But yeah, I do like that they have that almost the exact same scene where everyone's like, oh, watch isn't working. What's the deal?
Yeah.
And it turns out to be, what? An electromagnetic field. Everything's been magnetized.
Yes.
So yeah, this causes everyone to go outside, and they immediately look up into the sky and see shit looking fucky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they some of them decide that let's go investigate the meteor. That's where we should be.
Yeah, like, oh man, that looks like trouble. Let's go towards it.
Yeah, right. And this immediately means the attack is underway all around the world as we start to learn that what's happening in California is happening in a lot of other places as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we get clips of basically people like enjoying the radio, very of its time.
Oh yeah.
Like all the different clips of like families sitting in their rooms and listening to the radio together. Businesses like sitting at lunchtime listening to radio together.
Yeah.
Very, very weird. not a time period I can relate to, because this is not a thing that ever happened in my lifetime where people listen to the radio together.
Now, I will say, me and my dad used to listen on certain nights. We would listen to a local station, like a local public access station.
That's cool.
Yeah, they would do I remember Wednesday nights were Celtic music nights, and Sunday nights were bluegrass, and we were big fans of the bluegrass night.
That's nice.
His name was Bill Myrick, was the one that
hell yeah.
He's not the biggest name in bluegrass, but he has been in the scene.
Nice.
And I actually met him personally, and he's one of probably the biggest star I've ever, or not maybe celebrity, that I've actually met and talked to. I met Shelley Duvall once, but I didn't talk to her. It was just I lived in the same town. Anyway.
Oh, that's a cool story. I like the radio. I used to listen to the radio to go to sleep before podcasts came along.
I do remember that.
To the radio to sleep, and then I would also put on internet radio when that became a thing.
Yeah, I do. I remember when you were trying to sleep, when you were in college, and we lived in the same apartment.
Coast to Coast AM.
That's right. It would just be because you couldn't listen to music that you would be interested in, or it would keep you up. So you just played shit that kind of annoyed me. So.
Yeah, lots and lots of Coast to Coast AM.
It was real top 40 shit.
Yeah. Well, that was the music, and then sometimes it would be other things as well. So yeah,
right.
Yeah. There was I still do that, except now I mostly listen to podcasts, stuff like that. Or now then I listen to a YouTube video.
Absolutely.
I usually choose a weird documentary. Lots of spelunking gone wrong things. That's my new thing to listen to. Is people getting stranded and dying inside of caves. Don't know why that's my thing right now, but that's my thing right now. So.
Wow.
Speaking of people stranding and getting died inside of caves, we get the military is here. Yeah. And we get some stock footage. Well, this movie has a lot of stock footage.
Oh, yes.
And very of its time, 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
Remember, $600,000 is really the budget of this movie. Everything else went to special effects.
That's right.
So they're making the best of what they got here. And what they have is stock footage. So we're going to use
I'm a man
shit.
who loves stock footage, though. So.
I love stock footage. Stock footage is great. I think it's amazing when it shows up in movies. So the military shows up in full force, but they don't really have anything to do except just to wait to see what the hell the aliens do, because they know at least they don't know, but they can highly suspect they're severely outmatched here.
Yeah, this doesn't look like your run of the mill,
Exactly, and this of course doesn't go well, as before the aliens attack, the doc decides her friend, her uncle.
It was her uncle.
Yeah, he decides he's a churchgoer.
Yeah, was he not? Did he not have the collar? Was he a reverend or some?
I believe he was a reverend or someone affiliated, a man of the cloth.
He was a man of the cloth.
Yeah, so he decides he's like, "Hey, no one's tried talking to the aliens yet," which is not true. People had. He doesn't know that. The three guys earlier tried to wave a white flag. And they immediately get disintegrated.
Yeah, it turns out white flag don't mean the same thing on Mars.
Exactly, does not mean the same thing. So he doesn't know that. So he's like, no one's tried to reason with them and explain to them that, we're here, we're fine.
Well,
and he assumes that, they're a higher evolution than us, so they must be closer to God than us.
They're more advanced, closer to God. That's how he sees it, and
so obviously they'll be reasoned with. No,
that was a heck of a stretch of a thought there.
Yeah, it was a heck of a stretch of a thought. So this is what starts the attack. As they kill him, which then starts the bombings and the back and forth. And this is where we get one of the army guys catches on fire.
Yeah.
Two things happen there. One, you get your Wilhelm scream. There's a fun one.
Yes.
Two, he caught on fire, and they could not put him out. So that was a problem for him. He got severely burned.
Are you talking about the actor?
The actor, yes.
Or the stuntman or whatever it was?
Yeah, he got caught. He literally caught on fire. They couldn't put him out.
Oh, no.
Because the clothing he was wearing was so flammable. He lit up like a Christmas tree, and they did not expect it to light up that quickly. So in the film, when you're seeing him, he's on fire. Yeah, he's on fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes that feel so very different. Oh, man.
Yeah, that Wilhelm scream was a little different there.
Yeah, it's
different. Yeah.
I guess they used that because the real scream probably would have been
I
horrifying.
believe the real scream is probably terrifying. Yes, I
It
would
would
imagine.
like, yeah, it would be like, it would stop you. You'd be like, I know you want to keep going with the movie and all, but can we go back to that guy? I mean,
is he okay?
yeah, like you have some explaining to do.
So we then cut to an old woman hawking newspapers that kind of tells us about the invasion happening everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing the movie does. So like we'll build up with our two main characters, Gene and Anne, and then we'll kind of go off somewhere else for a little while, and then come back
Yeah.
to Gene and Anne. So that's the thing
Yeah.
that we do. But
I
it
do
doesn't
like
really
it.
give us any. It gives us some room to breathe from
It does.
like the
It's-
major like pacing problem, which is like how are they not just dead?
Yeah, right.
But it also doesn't really give us time to meet any other new characters because everyone's only in the movie for like a brief period.
Yeah, it's these little vignettes. I kind of like that.
Yeah,
I like that
it's nice.
style. So
I like it too. Yeah, so
Yeah.
our heroes have some time to fall in love as they're in a little house together now.
Yeah.
And this is where Spielberg would borrow a lot of elements from this part of the movie.
Oh,
in
this
his movie.
I was like, oh, it's
Directly
shot
pulled.
on
Yeah, it's almost shot for shot. Yeah, so the aliens, the house gets destroyed, and then they send a probe in, just like in the Spielberg version.
yes.
And the probe looks for them, and they hide from it, and then eventually it finds them, which they scream, they break its head off,
Yeah.
they're trying to get out, and then the actual alien, the life form itself, comes to investigate in person. Different than Spielberg's version. Here we get just one. In the
And-
Spielberg version, we get a couple, and it looks kind of ridiculous.
And the way we're introduced to it, which is just putting its hand on her shoulder.
Well, so apparently 2 reasons for that. One is because the way it was designed, it was like rubber latex on top of like a big thing, and it made it very hard to move. So the costume designer actually designed 2 of them, one for close-ups and one for the long shot. But they ended up using the same hand, which is the little tentacle they put on their shoulder.
Yeah,
And yeah, they had that problem. Was like it looks a little silly.
it does.
It even looked kind of silly then too. It wasn't a thing where they were like, "This is exactly what we wanted." It was more of
Yeah,
like,
right.
"Well, that'll do."
Yeah, right. Like we put it. Well, that's where our money went.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so they don't really get much time to fall in love because as soon as they start to, we get more meteors landing and all over the place. And
Yeah,
hours later, he wakes up, and like I said, we get the whole scene straight from Spielberg that we just talked about, where they literally go and do virtually, like you said, almost shot for shot, the same process.
Oh yeah.
Except now they get out and they make a run for it, and then the narrator takes back over, and we get more stock footage.
It's a good time for stock footage, you know?
It's a good time for stock footage. Invest in stock footage. Now buy low. So we meet back up with the military, and the White House wants to use nukes on the aliens, which surprises no one, especially in 2025.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And
it could even be a hurricane.
Gene Barry has some other plans in mind, but no one really wants to listen to him because nukes are fun, you know?
Nukes are fun. Why do we got these nukes if we're not going to use them?
Why do we got all these bombs if we're not going to bomb shit? What do you want me to do? Right? So basically, this is where we would put on the 3D glasses if we were watching the film in theaters, because everyone puts on the goggles so their eyes are not blinded by the nuclear bomb that's like right over there. I would be more worried about all of you also dying from it. But
yeah,
hey,
for
apparently
real.
that's not a priority. Just cover your eyes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, this would be, if the movie was filmed in 3D, this would have been where we would put on our 3D glasses.
I see.
Yeah. Cue the stock footage, because we get more stock footage here of different things of the bomb, which of course doesn't work.
Nope.
Yeah, so hey, I guess that was plan A, so now we're on to plan B or C or X or K or Y.
Really.
I don't know. We're on to a different plan because that didn't work. So his plan involves him going back into the city to, do a lot of things. This is where the plot starts to get a little convoluted.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because we're almost over. We only got like 20 minutes left of the movie.
There's a part where because they book it and from that house, and then they end up back with these, I don't know, what these researchers, I guess they're from his...
Yeah, the Polytechnical College of Science plot devices.
Yes, and they talk about the optics. That was
Go
a
Eskimos.
little. Do what?
I said go Eskimos.
Yeah, right. Oh, there you go. And they talk about like we could get a look at their optics with this. And I was like, how in the hell would that be helpful? Like,
Yeah.
like that's not very helpful. And
Well,
then, but they do find out one thing there about their, I guess about their cell structure or something like that.
yeah. That's
And
why he has to go back to try to find them, because he's like, oh, I need that,
Yeah.
Doesn't end up working, but it does give us another Spielberg scene that he stole, which is the car getting taken over
Mm-hmm.
and all the riots happening in the city. That also Spielberg borrowed directly from. Because
Okay,
as soon
yeah.
as he drives into the city, his car gets immediately overtaken,
Yeah.
and people pull him the hell out of it and just steal the hell out of his car. So yeah, there's riots running amok everywhere, and this is where we see a lot of the miniature work as the city start getting attacked.
Yes.
All of this is miniatures. Very impressive.
It looks very good.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we build until the ending is maybe the part of it I dislike the most, because we build until we get to this like church scene and this is foreshadowed earlier in the movie, where when they're falling in love, she mentions that like when she got scared as a little kid and she had no one else to run to, she went to the church, and that's where she met Uncle Matthew. And so we get some context as to like why she's going to go to the church.
Yeah.
But the church stuff is kind of silly because H.G. Wells was not really a religious person, so you can tell all of this was kind of added in by other people.
Well, and this was, I don't know.
It was of the time.
It was very. Was this like? Would you say McCarthyism? Yeah, I'd say it was.
Yeah.
So
We're getting to the end of the Korean War, so
yeah. So there was a lot of that sentiment around at that time.
So more explosions.
I'm glad that went away.
Yeah, that went away. Yeah, more explosions as the world is almost completely destroyed, except for this lovely little church.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do like how the movie I like part of the ending.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last week, I like that there's no heroic action on his part. He doesn't save anything.
No.
He's kind of given up and resigned to his fate that like we're all going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And then almost by like divine intervention, a deus ex machina, if you will, the attack ends and they die right before they're about to blow up this church. Symbolism. Yeah, so that is none of that's in the book. Obviously, that was all added after the fact. That part of the movie I don't really like. I don't really like the weird, awkward religious tone we throw in at the end of it, where they're like, "Oh, they died from a bacteria by absorbing the air, which is God created. Thank God." And I'm like, ugh, okay. So like the aliens, the Martians, they didn't think to investigate the air before they got here,
right?
It's almost as like bad as like Signs, where it's like, oh, they didn't know that water would hurt them. I'm like, it's like 90% of the fucking planet,
right? Like, it's
how would you not think to check that out first?
And every person is kind of dependent on water, so we're carrying water with us all the time.
Exactly. Like it just. Just some basic common sense shit here, where I'm just like, okay, we're supposed to believe they're superior intelligent creatures, but they didn't check to think that like maybe they should send a probe and see like, is the air breathable?
Yeah,
is it going to kill us right away? Are they these like?
Hey, you know how
very silly
microbes, or like I don't know if maybe those don't exist on Mars. I don't know.
Maybe not. They don't have to worry about fucking biology on Mars. Not a thing that they got to worry about, I guess. I don't know. A little silly. I wish maybe like at the beginning of the movie, I don't know. I was going to say maybe you could have said like they're desperate. Like, so they're just going to go with whatever the first best choice is, because like Mars is no longer livable. Something like that. Right. And I guess they do give you a little bit of that at the beginning of the movie. I just wish it was maybe emphasized a bit more. And that still wouldn't fix the religious mumbo jumbo at the end. Anyway.
No,
like that's just kind of ham-fisted in there to be like, God, remember him? He's gonna save us. It's like, okay, well, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. So yeah, end of the movie. Thoughts? I liked it. For 50 sci-fi movies, I love 50 sci-fi movies. This one holds up pretty well. There's some parts of it I don't like, the ending especially, but there are some parts of it that I love all the way up until then that are just really fun. And I like the history of it, how they made all the different things, how they created the sound effects, especially I find really interesting. And there's a lot to like here. This is one of those 50s movies where if you're going to recommend someone to watch a 50s movie that they've never watched any 50s movies, I would say you should check out this one first.
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
Yeah. So I was going to say this definitely was, like I like watching making ofs or looking into the background of how movies are made. And, nowadays, not so interesting because it's like we stood in front of a green screen or something. But stuff like this, the miniatures, the matte paintings, the way they did the sounds, like, it's so interesting. It's so amazing. It's like the things we can do creatively when we can't just magic it up with a computer, like
Yeah.
it just makes it feel like movies like this just have a very different feel, and I love it. So
yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, like, almost like 70s movies where they have that, like, they're very of their time, where you can watch them and you're like, yeah, this is a 50s movie.
100.
And this is definitely a 50s movie, and I really like 50s movies, especially 50s sci-fi movies. And we're going to watch more of them.
I'm excited.
We'll continue to go back to the 50s soon. Obviously, next month is the month of October. Spooky
times.
And we'll be looking at the 90s and doing that all month long as we look at 90s movies for our podcast. And then on our friends' podcast, Monster Movie Fun Time Go, we'll be looking at 90s movies there as well. So
that's right.
There'll be a month of the 90s this coming up October. So see y'all then. Make sure you bring your flannel and pick out your favorite, L7 and local H records. And
Nice.
We'll see y'all next week. Hot damn, college boy. Thank you so much for listening. Every single week we come back with a new movie about the end of the world, or a movie about the beginning of the end of the world, or what happens after the end of the world, or maybe one day we just decide to watch Showgirls. Who knows? Right? But every week we are coming back, and thank you so much for stopping in this week and listening to the whole episode and hearing our thoughts on whatever train wreck of a movie I chose to force my friend to watch this week. I'm a good person like that. And thank you for also being a good person. There you go. If you want to be a really, really fucking cool person, which you obviously are, why don't you give us a like, and actually, more importantly, give us a subscribe. I find that to be more important. I don't know if the algorithm says it is. I don't really give a shit. But thank you for your patronage either way, and clicking all the things and doing all the stuff. Bye. Thanks.